Now it is my pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker for 2013, Earl Stuck, better known to most of us as Skip. Skip is the CEO of Family Continuity Programs, Inc., a family service agency that operates 20 programs in over 300 communities throughout Eastern and Central Mass. He has over 34 years of experience as Vice President for Services for the Child Welfare League of America. In 2011, Skip received an NASW award and is an active member of the Massachusetts Social Work Safety Task Force. After a social worker in his agency was killed, Skip took a prominent role in promoting safety in human service agencies. He's nationally known for his passion and commitment to vulnerable children, youths, and families, and to the organizations and individuals who serve them. He has consulted and spoken extensively on subjects like public advocacy, nonprofit administration, residential group care, juvenile justice and youth needs, worker safety, and working with the families of children and youth in out-of-home care. He's authored numerous articles and contributed to books on topics such as best practice standards, child advocacy, workforce recruitment and retention, and family-focused child welfare. Among his special concerns is the effect of violence on children and youth in the child welfare system and on child welfare workers. His most notable initiatives include working for the professionalism of child and youth care workers, expanding and upgrading independent living programs, and providing assistance for out-of-home care agencies that seek to become more family-focused in their services and philosophy. I'm delighted he has agreed to be our graduation speaker for today. Skip.
Thank you all very much, and I'm very honored to be here today. I didn't realize I'd done all of those things, but many of them are true, and I really do appreciate the Dean mentioning them now. First, I want to thank everyone at Boston University School of Social Work, and especially the Student Committee, for inviting me to speak today. In addition, I want to single out several people whose hard work has been especially beneficial to the field and very important to causes that are important to me. First, to Dean Steckety for the support that BU has provided the Social Worker Safety Initiative. BU has been a leading force in our work right from the start, providing resources, and many of our accomplishments are due to your school's commitment to this issue. In this regard, I also want to mention Judith Perlstein. Judith for her hard work and leadership on the statewide safety task force, which refused to let the issue of worker safety go away. And I want to thank my friend Julie Springwater for making sure that I stayed in touch with graduate students by continuing to invite me to speak to her management classes for at least a dozen or so years now. And finally, I want to thank some of our macro students who took their time to help me figure out what I was going to talk about today. This said, we've all been through enough commencement speeches to know that they tend to go in one of two directions. Perhaps someone provides a review of the life lessons that you've picked up either accidentally or on purpose while you were at BU. Or maybe they present a stirring and inspiring charge to go forward and use your talents to do great things. Today, I won't waste your time by telling you some things you already know. I'll assume that you already cherish the lessons you've learned. You know which ones are important. And you don't need me to remind you of that. Neither will I challenge you to go out and save the world, because you're social workers, for crying out loud. And if you haven't committed yourself to that goal by now, let me be the first to tell you you've just wasted 2 years of your life. It may not be too late, though, for you to walk down the street and apply to the School of Business Administration, because they have a very wonderful program at BU. Taking care of others is in your blood, and you will do great things no matter what I tell you. So instead, I want to focus on what I've found out that too many social workers do not know. And they do not know, while they know how to take care of others, they don't always know how to take care of themselves. You are a precious commodity. Let me say that again. You are a precious commodity. I don't know the last time any of you were ever called precious. Was it when you were 5 years old at Aunt Sally's on Thanksgiving? Or was it when you were all dressed up for your first day of school and your mother said you were precious? No matter when it was, I'll bet it was a heck of a long time ago. We all think of children as precious, but we really think of adults at any age as precious. We think of gems and medals as precious. We think of memories as precious. And we think of loved ones when they've passed away. We think those memories are especially precious. But if you remember anything from today's speech, please let it be that you can never allow precious memories to be more important than living, breathing human beings. I learned this hard lesson 5 years ago, on February 6, 2008, when my friend and colleague Daruhi Madian was killed. Many of you have heard Daruhi's story. She worked for Family Continuity for 10 years. She was a 53-year-old social worker and therapist, an Armenian immigrant and a single mother of 2 wonderful daughters, Ani and Armini, both finishing college and about to start out on lives of their own. She was an extremely talented, experienced, and caring worker. She was a wonderful person and an especially valued friend and supporter to me, who as a new CEO needed all the friends and advice that I could possibly get. She was experienced and careful. Our agency had worked with the family that she was visiting on the home visit where she was killed for many years. I know it's hard to believe, but the seriously mentally ill young man who killed her was devastated, admired her greatly, and cared for her a great deal. She taught him how to drive. She taught him how to get his license. Far from the dangerous neighborhoods we're often taught to fear, she was killed in a very affluent neighborhood in an affluent suburb north of Boston. She followed all of the right procedures we had in place at that time. Unknowingly, she'd arrived at the home to find an argument had escalated with the brother who'd stopped taking his medication, who was threatening his sister with a knife. While it's impossible to ever fully know what happened, it appears that Daruhi attempted to intervene to take the knife away, and she was stabbed. The young man, distraught over what he had done, tried to kill himself, but survived after a long hospitalization. My apologies to all of you for relating a story this sad event on a wonderful day like today. Today is a wonderful day for all of you, and I hope to spend the rest of the time we're talking proving that. But I do want to remind you that none of the precious memories that I have of Daruhi will ever be as precious as she was herself. Granted, it was a horrible job-related tragedy, but it bears reminding that we live in a world where the potential danger is everywhere. Ticket takers at movie theaters, elementary school teachers, postal workers, and as we've recently seen, even children and college student spectators at the Boston Marathon all share unexpected and random risks. But we still go to the movies, we still send our kids to school, and we all attend sporting events. We always will, and we always should. We go because the importance of our work, the joy of our children, and the passion for living are why we're here on this planet to begin with. Despite the tragedy, it's these things that give meaning to our lives. We live for the living and remember that people are more precious than memories. In retrospect, it was Daruhi's life work, far more than her death, that changed my life. And it was the values she impressed on her wonderful daughters and the legacy she left for her coworkers that changed my agency. Meeting with her staff for the first time in the morning following her death, I feared they'd all leave. They'd be too worried or threatened to continue to work with Family Continuity's important mission. In the room, I noticed a young woman who I didn't recognize, looking especially lost and disconsolate. Introducing myself, I asked her name, and she told me, and she said she was an MSW intern, and that today was her first day with our agency. And then she told me that Daruhi was to have been her intern supervisor. Next to the moment that I'd heard about Daruhi's death, this was maybe the lowest point of my life, professionally. Everything we had as an agency was at stake. The future of my agency rested squarely on the safety and security of my staff. And after all, Family Continuity's mission, simply stated, is supporting family success in every community. If we didn't do that, what are we going to do? We had no mission at all. But something very unexpected happened. Immediately amidst the sadness and anger and tears, her staff and colleagues told me that Daruhi would never forgive us if we changed the commitment to families and to community-based work. To a person, they were certain of this. Later that day, her daughters told me the same thing, that our job needed to be to further the work that was so important to her and not memorialize her death. They all made believers out of me, so we took their advice to do important work. But also to change the entire culture at my agency to a culture of safety. As I said, life is more precious than memories, and especially as we came to better understand our role to protect the safety of our staff. Along with many accomplishments that we're proud of over this last 5 years, I'm very proud of my agency's involvement in protecting social workers. Of the changes we made in policy and procedure to help provide better support and protection for our staff and interns, of the training and preparation that all of our staff and interns get now on how to be aware and better understand their environment, to recognize warning signs of danger, to use their own skills to de-escalate a crisis, to support each other, and to know when it's time to get out of a dangerous situation. We learned that we can give people the skills they need to be safe. We try to teach safety not through fear, but rather through preparation, awareness, and self-confidence. We are proud that we've been able to share the training with over 1,000 professionals from over 120 organizations due to a grant that we received from the Massachusetts Department of Industrial Accidents. Safety is important for the families we work with, too. I want to say that again. Safety is important to work with for the families we work with. If we're worried about danger, think of what it's like to live there. We have changed the way we help our clients by weaving safety into our clinical practice, knowing that families face many dangers every day far greater than our own, and that our safety is closely linked to theirs, and that all hope of changing their lives starts with feeling safe enough to take a chance to change. As part of the Massachusetts NASW Worker Safety Task Force, we're proud to have been part of passing Massachusetts' first law to protect the safety of human service workers, signed by the governor this last February. And we're proud of participating in the writing of NASW's first national standards for worker safety, published just last month, that helped define sound practice in social work across the country. Although I will always think of this as a poor and insufficient tribute to Drury's memory, our staff are safer today, I know it, and so do they. I'm convinced that this is the work in life that she would have had us do, and that we've done it in her memory. But enough about us, what about you? The work you've chosen to do is some of the most important work on earth. For all of the challenges that social work and social workers face, you've decided your place is to improve the lives of others. I'm here to tell you, your parents, your husbands, your wives, loved ones, friends, who've helped pay for these degrees, that they didn't waste their money. You provide a valuable gift, and think of it as an insurance policy that will make the world a better place. As I said earlier, I'm not going to tell you to go out and save the world, but I will remind you to save yourselves. All valuable things must be cared for. We share a responsibility to keep you safe and in top working condition. The education system has provided you with knowledge. Most of you will work for organizations that will provide experience, in-service training, and supervision. But many, many other things will threaten your careers, other things besides violence. Boredom, cynicism, complacency, loss of focus are all threats. So is the feeling that you're not making the difference you want to make in the world. Whether you enjoy a long career, and this year actually marks, I think we did a mistake, it's 43 years for me, or leave it to become a carpenter or a cost accountant, largely depends upon not me, but upon you. Ultimately, nobody can keep you safe, fulfilled, and optimistic but you. You must first expect to be treated like something of value, with respect by employers, by colleagues, and in your own personal lives. You must hold your employees and their commitments to training and guidance and supervision accountable for their promises. You must take your own safety seriously. At work, you need to remember what you're told whenever you get on an airplane. In the event of an emergency, air masks will drop, and if you are traveling with children, remember that you have to put your own mask on first so that you're in a position to help others. You need to take your training seriously because those who will soon come to see you as role models that you're working with. In your personal lives, this also holds true. As an adult, no one can tell you how to live your personal life. But you might benefit from knowing that the evidence is clear that you are nearly 50 times more likely to be seriously injured standing out in front of a bar at closing time on a Friday night than you ever are in your professional job. Think about the life choices as you would your professional choices. You must be balanced. No matter how hard you work, it would be a good idea to actually have a personal life. If you don't have one, I encourage you to get one. Fulfilling work can never alone fill a life. Friendships, family relationships, hobbies, passion for life away from work all provide the energy that fuels our work. Relationships matter no less in your personal than in your professional lives. Despite their many complications, relationships make us happy. They help us be optimistic, and you must be optimistic. You should view optimism as a commodity. Keep it deposited in your bank, because someone sometime will need to borrow hope from you, and your account cannot be empty when that request is made. You must remain idealistic. Knowing that you are capable of helping to change lives and change the world gets us all through difficult times. It's especially true since a large part of your job will be to restore value to people where value has been lost. You must be tenacious. Not a bleeding heart social worker, but a two-fisted social worker. Somebody who never gives up on what's important. My grandmother once told me, brains are overrated. I think she was trying to let me down gently. But she said, tenacity always wins. And she was right. If you don't know already, you must, and let me say this again, you must learn to have fun in your work. No one will ever listen to or learn anything from a tired, pessimistic, grouchy old curmudgeon. Would you? Despite all the challenges, low pay, sometimes difficult conditions, this work can be fun, it should be fun, and if you're to be any good at it, you better learn how to have fun doing it. Humor shows us hope and the possibilities that await even in the darkest times. Joy begets joy. To quote Maya Angelou, people will forget what you say and they will forget what you do, but people never forget how you made them feel. For me, the truest thing I've ever been told is that all people are different and they all need different things. But the one single thing that every single person needs is someone to be absolutely crazy about them. You've got to be optimistic, you've got to be idealistic in order to be that person. All change starts in the heart and works its way out. This is how we treat precious things, is we celebrate life and we celebrate the things that allow us to have productive and long careers. My charge from the graduate students I spoke to was to answer two questions. Why is social work a great profession? And since my parents are in the audience, please be sure to explain them why this was a good investment of their money. I hope I've done that, but I hope we've also talked about a third thing. Remember the young intern I talked about earlier? Much to my surprise, she completed her internship with us and came to work for Family Continuity. More than anything else, she is proof that resiliency always trumps tragedy. Like her, you are precious because you will do great things. More important than anything else, please treat yourselves that way. President Obama, speaking at the Boston Marathon Memorial Service, said, quoting scripture, "Run with endurance the race that is set before us." I say, work hard, have fun, and bless you all. Thank you very much.